It's a time of austerity where organisations can't spend as much money as they used to be able to because it's a lot tighter than it was, say, back in the 90s. And that's pretty inclusive of universities. It was a time, if you're a certain age, you could go to university for free and there was no course fees or anything like that. But those days are long gone. It's a point where, well, a lot of people went to university, now it's greatly reduced. So universities have to be a bit careful with their money. They have course fees, they tend to go up every now and again. So basically you have to be very careful and can't be, say, frivolous with their money. As a student, I suppose you go out partying a lot. For some people it's the best time of their life. But you're there to study, really. You have to balance it out with getting your studies done and having a good time as well. So you can go crazy, but you can't go ridiculously drug-filled super crazy like some Rolling Stones member. Students at Edinburgh University are calling for something called a nap pod to be installed in their library. I think they originally wanted two. Is to try and combat sleep deprivation, because they're saying when they're walking around campus going from class to class they feel tired and can't concentrate on their work. What? Can't you just go to bed earlier? Maybe I'm being naive. And what good is a nap pod going to do anyway? Well, what is a nap pod, I hear you ask? Well, essentially it's like this very small chamber which you can, it opens up, you get in it, you close it down and you just relax. And then peaceful music plays. Is that really going to help? I mean, as I understand it, you can only be in there for 20 minutes anyway. How much are you going to recover after 20 minutes? A nap pod. It's something I don't think could work, and it's a luxury that's just universities can spend their money elsewhere. How'd this idea even come about? Well, it's to do with the students again. You know, the sort of ones that elect a hamster as their year president. But basically, there's something called the Buchanan Institute, which I've written down here, which is a student-led think tank. Yeah, that's looking bad already. Said they could get a discount on these pods. So they've looked into it, which normally cost £10,000. £10,000! They think they can get a discount. Originally they wanted two of these. £20,000 on two nap pods where you could just go to sleep earlier or something. Just time your times better, or just plan it. One of the arguments that a student did say that it's very tiring having to do all the extracurricular activities like memberships and clubs to try and get it on your CV, so when you go to a job interview it says you've got a lot of stuff. Well, you know, you have to prioritise. You can't do all the activities. I mean, if you want to go into banking, maybe do some economics and debating classes or politics as well. Cut out taekwondo and cake baking. You know, you don't have to go to all the activities. I'm sure, how much sleep do we need? About 8 hours? You don't need to do so many activities that you cut it down to about 3 or 4 hours. We know what it is really, isn't it? A lot of them, it's just drinking and stuff. There is a bit of science behind this, well, loosely. I mean, 1,500 students were initially surveyed to see if this would be a good idea or how they feel on campus. And the results come back of, I believe, 93% said they were tired actually walking about on campus. Well, I'm quite tired a lot myself, and I don't do that many activities. If someone said, out of percentage, how tired are you? I'd probably say about 12%. Why don't I go into a nap pod at the cost of £10,000? Anyway, eventually, sense prevailed. No, it didn't actually, because they surveyed then all of the students at the university, all of them, and it turns out that 84% of them were in favour of having nap pods installed in their library. Great. So you're in the library, you're doing your research, and next to you is a nap pod. I presume the music, you can't hear it from outside and someone's having a nap. Just go home. Just go home and have a sleep for half an hour before your lesson. Why do you need an artificial nap pod at 10,000? Just get a bed in a room. That seems to be a bit cheaper. Is there something I'm not getting here? Sleep deprivation is one of the main causes of mental health, apparently. So if you don't get enough sleep, the body can't reset, produce enough chemicals to keep you up and running. I think it's been said if you're awake for more than 70 hours, I picked this off QI, a quiz show, that it's equivalent of having 2 glasses of wine. So the brain does need to switch off. It does need to get enough sleep because eventually it will catch up with you. I don't know if you've been in a period where you've been in lots of overtime at work or lots of work generally around the house and not getting enough sleep. You're all right first of all, then eventually, bang, you can do hardly anything. So sleep is important, but I'm not sure that nap pods is really the answer, to be honest. I was reading a follow-up report on this story, and unbelievably, Edinburgh University have decided to go for 4 of these nap pods at £10,000 each, so it seems that there wasn't a reduction. So £40,000 of university money is being used to buy 4 of these contraptions so students can go in there and have a sleep for up to a staggering 20 minutes. Just, as I said, just go home and have a sleep. Is this the best use of money? Now, let's try and think. How many students are there at Edinburgh University? Apparently they've got a couple of these at Manchester University as well, but let's just concentrate on Edinburgh. Now, how many students are there, do you think? 4 nap pods, you're feeling tired, you go to the library, you want 20 minutes sleep because you've had a busy night, you've done all your activities that you're trying to do, basket weaving, taekwondo, the debating society, you've been at all those and you're just too tired to do all your work, so you go to the library and there's a huge queue. What, why? I want to get in my nap pod, I can't wait, I'm going to fall asleep. Well, let's try and think of the ratio here. 4 nap pods, how many students? It works out that there's 1 nap pod for every 7,000 students. So if they all needed a nap and you was at the back of the line, so 7,000, you'd have to wait 6,999 times 20 minutes before you could probably get in that pod. Is that gonna miss your lessons at all? I mean, £40,000. It just makes me extremely and utterly mad. £40,000. What could that pay for in terms of the university? Maybe Edinburgh University are rich or something. So first of all, in summary, it makes no financial sense because it's too expensive as opposed to just having a bed someone lay in. And second of all, it doesn't solve the problem anyway because the ratio is so out of kilter. You need to get, I don't know, about 500 sleep pods or nap pods before it even makes any sense, and times that by 10,000 and the university is completely and utterly bankrupt. I mean, sometimes I'm absolutely speechless. So the students voted this in, the university cleared it, and now it's happening. Stupid!